The Geirangerfjord is one of the most beautiful vistas in Norway. It lies between the villages of Hellesylt and Geiranger and is known to some as the Pearl of the Fjords. In 1996, the village of Geiranger would garner attention for reasons other than its scenic attractions. On August 7th, a young lady called Trude Espås, who was 20 at the time, was seen sitting on a rock overlooking the breathtaking fjord. A number of witnesses saw her reading a book. Two of these witnesses were Roine and Birgitta Loff, a Swedish couple who had been camping in the area. They spotted her at approximately 5 p.m. On their return, at around 6, she was no longer there. At this time, Roine wanted to go to the bathroom, so he walked up the path running adjacent to the main road. Halfway up the path, the couple heard a scream they described as, and I quote, "cutting." Birgitta remained where she was, but Roine went in the direction of the screams to see if everything was okay. When he got to the top, where one could either go right or left, he looked right towards Geiranger town and spotted two people. Approximately 30 to 40 metres to his right, he could see what he thought to be a child against a rock face. Over the quote child was a male adult. This is the person in blue in the photo. When the man noticed Roine, he stood up and stared at him strangely. Roine states that he thought it was simply a man and his daughter. Concluding that nothing untoward was happening, he walked left in the opposite direction and found a place to urinate. 2 to 3 minutes later, he walked back down towards his wife and notices that the persons he perceived to be an adult man and a child had gone. The following day, August 8th, Trude Espås failed to turn up for work at the Union Hotel. She had been working there for only a week, but fellow staff members were concerned when she didn't arrive, and they notified police on the 9th. An in-depth search of the area began with haste. An initial problem authorities encountered was the number of people coming and going from the small town of Geiranger. Only 250 permanent residents occupied the town. However, during the peak tourist season, the scenic location is inundated with visitors from across Norway and a host of different nations. Several thousand are passing through at any one time. Naturally, police were worried that witnesses would leave and they would lose vital information. 11 days after her disappearance, an elderly couple were taking a walk in the vicinity where Trude had last been seen. Not far from the last place she was noticed, they became aware of an overpowering odour. Following the smell, they walked up an embankment about 100 metres from the rock Trude had last been seen on, and about 20 metres from where Roine had seen the two unknown individuals. As they did so, the man noticed some white shoes placed between rocks. It was at this point that they decided to notify police. On arrival, the authorities cordoned off the area, and not long after, they found the body of Trude Espås underneath rocks, which had been placed upon her in order to conceal her remains. The autopsy concluded that Trude had been raped and strangled. Investigators were convinced that the murder had not taken place at the rock she was seen at by a relatively large number of people. It was located beside a road, and it was deemed to be too open for a would-be murderer to commit his deed. It's believed that the murder took place in an area secluded from view, close to where Roine Loff thought he had seen an adult and child. Police were of the belief that the persons he actually saw were Trude and the murderer. It doesn't appear as if Trude involuntarily left the rock, as her bag and book were still present, indicating she expected to return. A key witness that came forward was a 40-year-old female hotel employee who had been lying down sunbathing on some rocks 500 metres from where Trude was last seen. While there, she became aware of a man who was acting strangely. He was staring at her for a period of about 20 minutes. He then got up from a seated position and asked her what time it was in German. On receiving a reply of 5:10 p.m, he walked in the direction of the location where Trude had been seen. This woman provided a sketch. She described him as pale, possessing grey-blue eyes, dark brown hair, and he was clean-shaven. He was approximately 1 metre 85 centimetres tall and of normal build, and was wearing light-coloured shorts and a short-sleeved polo shirt with blue and white horizontal stripes. When Roine Loff was shown the other witness's sketch of the man, he believed the face was familiar. But what he remembers most about the man he encountered that day was his eyes. He's quoted as saying, "I have those eyes right in front of me. Kind of panicked eyes. That's what I remember," unquote. Trude's body was found only 20 metres away from Roine's sighting. When police searched her room, they came across notes for a diary that she had been keeping. One of the notes contained 2 words that puzzled police: German crutches. She had written these 2 words on the 2nd of August. For 21 years, the police were bothered by these 2 words. They finally solved the mystery in 2017. Following the case's appearance on a German crime show, the Norwegian TV programme Åsted Norge received an email from Norbert Bartling, a German who had been on vacation in Geiranger on August 2nd, 1996. He informed them that he had 3 slides that may be of interest to them. When Åsted Norge received the slides and scanned them for a higher quality photo, they discovered the answer to what the words could have meant. This image was one of the slides. This photograph, taken on August 2nd, 1996, clearly shows a man using crutches. Following receipt of the photograph, Åsted Norge travelled to Geiranger to speak with a witness. In 1996, they met Camilla Roneberg, who was 16 at the time. She had met and spoken with the man in the photograph. She claimed that the man asked her personal questions, such as where she lived and how far her house was. This man was fluent in German. Camilla never saw the man again after he left, but the encounter was important because the police were aware that Trude was in the town centre at around 4 p.m. on August 2nd. Around the same time, Camilla met this man. Was this the German that Trude referred to in her notes? Previous to receiving this picture, police believed that the killer of Trude may have used crutches in order to take advantage of her caring nature. But when looking at the picture of this man, he only seems to have 1 leg and is older than the man described previously. It would also appear to be a difficult challenge for a man with only 1 leg to traverse the terrain where her body was later found. There was another person's DNA found on the body of Trude. It was only a partial profile and can only be used to exclude people from the investigation. Police have also said they cannot determine if this was the killer's or if it came from a guest at the hotel where she worked. It's also been suggested by the media in Norway that 3 men are of interest in the investigation. None of them have an alibi. Among these men is an Eastern European man who speaks German. He was in Geiranger for a mathematics conference at the time of the killing and left 2 days later. It has been said he looks startlingly similar to the picture drawn up and released to the public. In 1997, Asbjørn Hansen, a Kripos investigator, questioned him as a witness at a police station in Brussels. Mr. Hansen said, and I quote, "He did not give a favourable impression. I sat with a very bad feeling in my stomach during the whole interrogation. But who knows, maybe he was just nervous about being suspected in a murder case," unquote. His DNA profile did not match the one obtained by police, but as stated, this may have well come from another source who is completely innocent when it comes to the death of Trude Espås. Once again, we have another case of a young woman who is simply taking some time off from work. Yet again, it is another girl who is just beginning her journey in life. A girl who has been robbed of her existence so that an unknown male can partake in a brief act of wickedness that robbed a girl of her chance to fulfill her ambitions. Thanks once again to everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do make sure to like, comment, share and subscribe to Mystery Scope. As always, until the next time, do take care.